Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Clarissa and I put out new pick a card readings once a week. So this week, as you can tell by the title of the video, this is going to be focused on messages that you need to hear right now. So whatever spirit is really needing you to hear right now is going to be coming through for you in these readings. I really left it open-ended. I mean, some of these may be some tough love messages, but they're things that you definitely need to hear right now. So we'll go ahead and get into the different piles here. So we have pile number 1, 2, and 3 for you guys today. I guess it's just cards. They're not really piles, but at least not yet. But we have option 1, 2, and 3 for you guys. This is the back of the card for option 1, or pile 1, reading 1. I was trying to think, I mean, this isn't technically a pile, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean. But that's the back of the card for group 1. That's better, group. This is the back of the card for group 2. And then this is the imagery on the back of the deck for group 3. Okay. So I will give you guys some time to sit with these cards and pick whichever one you are the most drawn to for today's reading. Just as sorry, I totally had a brain fart there. I was trying to think of the word I wanted to say, reference, but that's not really what I want to say, I don't think. But just so that you're aware, you do not have to pick just one pile, especially for this week's reading, which is about messages that you need to hear right now. Maybe you need to hear multiple messages right now. Maybe you need to hear all 3 of these messages. So if you want to listen to the whole reading, if you want to listen to 2, if you just want to listen to 1, whatever works for you. There's really no rules with, pick a card readings. I just always say to go first with what you're the most drawn to, unless you're drawn to everything or you want to listen to the whole reading. Once you have taken a minute to sit with the cards, sit with your options, and make your decision, you can go to the description box down below where I have the timestamps for each different group, and then you can go directly to your reading. But thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope that the messages that you hear today help you. They give you some clarity, some guidance, and just, allow you to feel seen and heard. So anyway, I love you guys. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you shortly in your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. As a reminder, if you picked this card here in the beginning, in the intro, then this is your reading for this week. And again, this reading is all about messages that you need to hear right now. So some of these messages may be hard to hear, but they are stuff that you are needing to hear right now. So if you picked this card with this design, we'll actually go ahead and read your card here first from this deck, and then we'll get into your tarot cards, okay? So you got flow. This state has been calling to you for some time now. You know it well. Your body craves it. Your heart cries out for it. The state in which the body and the heart and the mind dance together as one. The state in which everything is easeful, where creating and doing and being come naturally. This is your permission slip to lean into it. Go ahead, take a deep breath in, and release any lingering ties to the outcome. Open the space within you that allows for flow to be. Okay. So we'll touch on that card here in a minute, actually, and how I think it's kind of tying into your reading here. But first, I want to go ahead and look at your tarot cards here. So you guys got the 2 of Cups, the 2 of Wands, the Page of Wands, the 6 of Cups, the 10 of Swords, and the 10 of Cups. And I'm going to be honest, the card that stuck out to me the most here in the beginning was the 10 of Swords. And I think it's because what I'm hearing is that you're really close to kind of the completion of a cycle. And I feel like it's been a mental battle within yourself. I feel like for a lot of you may struggle with your mental health and with your ability to monitor your thoughts and like how your thoughts affect your emotions. I feel like there's just like a lot of stuff from your past that kind of keeps coming up and causing you to kind of repeat old cycles. And what I'm hearing is that, especially with this flow card coming up, is that it's really time for you to break out of those patterns and those cycles that are negatively affecting you. And I really think that with the Six of Cups coming up here, it's talking about things that may have happened to you in childhood, issues that may have arisen in childhood. And so for some of you, you know, this could be pointing to some inner child healing that needs to be done. I'm going to interrupt myself here really quick, guys, and just warn you, my French Bulldog is in here with me. If you are not new to my channel, then you know that he likes to be in the room sometimes when I'm reading, and I don't have the heart to kick him out. I mean, I love the little guy, so I apologize if he makes a lot of noise while we're trying to do your reading here. But anyway, I just feel like for a lot of you, sorry, I'm seeing all these areas where I should have cleaned off my table prior to starting. I was just excited to get into it. So my apologies here. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay. So like I was saying, I do feel like for the vast majority of you, this has to do with, you know, trauma that was endured during childhood, or, you know, self-limiting beliefs or ideologies. And I feel like the Six of Cups is standing out because it's really asking you to take a look at your childhood, maybe for some of you doing some inner child work that really desperately needs to be done so that you can heal and that you can stop repeating these cycles that I feel like are causing you more harm than good. And I really get the feeling that with this flow card coming out, a lot of you are wanting to move past these things. Like maybe you've been trying to manifest different things into your life. You know, maybe you have been working on healing and overcoming issues from your childhood and traumas that arose. And I feel like overall the message is that you really do need to lean into leaving certain people and certain things in your past and breaking ties with people and things that have caused you more harm than good. And I know that is easier said than done. So I don't want to be too pushy with that, but you know, it's just so interesting because we have so much water and fire coming up here with all of the cups and the wands. And, you know, I feel like honestly, your issues that you have that you're needing to still deal with and work through are holding you back and preventing you from really accomplishing and doing the things that you're passionate about and the things that you want to do. And that's why I think that a lot of this can be your own beliefs about what you're capable of. You know, I'm sorry, I do this a lot, but I'm just trying to make a connection for you guys. I don't mean to talk about myself and my life all of the time. But anyway, I was actually doing a reading for my sister a week or so ago, and some of the messages that got brought up for her were in relation to her trusting herself and doing the things that she really wants to do. And you know, my sister is quite a bit younger than me. Both of them are. I'm 7 years and 9 years older than my younger sisters, and my middle sister, who's 7 years younger than me, she was talking about how she told me that what I, you know, told her in the reading made her realize that she still has a lot of things that she's needing to resolve in terms of what she believes she's capable of, because why my parents didn't come out and tell her that she was stupid growing up. Both of my sisters and I had very different upbringings in terms of I was always told, oh, you're so smart, you'll be able to do whatever you want with your life. Oh, you're so smart. And I was the smart child, right? And I was put into that category. And so when I'm thinking about not being able to do things, it's not my intellect that stands in my way, because it's like this reaffirming belief for me that like I'm smart, I can do whatever I want, I'm capable of figuring things out. And my sisters weren't necessarily told that. They struggled a little bit more in school, especially with like math and with reading. And while my parents, like I said, didn't come out and say you're so stupid, it was more so like the frustration that my parents would get with them when like they were, you know, needing help with math homework, or when they, you know, didn't do so well in certain classes. And my parents would get frustrated because like I set this precedent that like they should be able to get A's in everything, and we're just very different people. And my sisters are not stupid, but they had a lot of issues that they had to overcome, and they still have to, with thinking that they're not intelligent enough to do something. And so that may be something that some of you are dealing with, maybe not necessarily with intellect, but maybe you were told you're not the creative child. Maybe you were told that you aren't the like pretty child, the attractive child. Maybe you were told you're not the athlete. Maybe you were told you're not this or that. And overall, I feel like the message here is that you really need to examine like where these beliefs came from. If you think you're not creative, is that because you were told that over and over again by people? Is that because like you're truly not creative, which I don't think is the case for anybody. But like what I'm getting at is really examine these like thoughts that come up when you're thinking about like doing something different, because with the Two of Wands coming up here and with the Page of Wands, coming up here, I really get this feeling that you guys have this like intense passionate like energy towards doing something in your life, like especially with the Two of Wands here and how it's depicted in this deck. You know, to me, it seems like the individual in this card has really hung up this other wand. Like they're not interested in this other wand at all. They're interested in this wand and like this option here. And, you know, we do have a globe here. We have like a van here. And so some of you may just be like wanting to travel and explore. And maybe you were told that, you know, you can't do those things because you're not a boy and you can't travel by yourself. Maybe you were told that you're not capable of figuring things out when you get to another country, and so you have like a lot of fear around traveling because people have told you that like, you know, it's scary to go elsewhere outside of the country that you live in, or you won't be able to speak the language, so you're not going to be able to communicate with people there, or you're not going to be able to figure out things and like find your way around on your own, right? And so maybe some of you have like self-limiting beliefs around that. But I mean, with the Page of Wands coming out here, I'm really feeling like anything is truly possible for you guys in terms of the realm of like creativity and passion, and you really need to pursue the things that you are passionate about. I mean, again, we had the flow card here talking about us getting into a flow state and really like being at ease in our heart and our mind and our soul, and really having those things like come and meld together well. And so I feel like there is an area of your life, and for most of you, I feel like it's like that soul yearning and drive to do a certain thing that you've been ignoring because, you know, you haven't felt like you're capable of doing certain things. But I do see that like with the Ten of Swords here, that, you know, that cycle will come to an end, but we do need to put in some work and effort towards that for that to happen, for us to then feel confident in taking this other option and setting forth on like our passions and desires and the things that we truly want to do in this life, the things that we're meant to do. Because ultimately, like, you're the only one that can change your life. You're the only one that can hold yourself back or push yourself forward. So what are you going to do? I feel like with the other cups coming out here, with the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups coming out here, for some of you, you know, maybe this had to do with like self-limiting beliefs about relationships and families. And maybe, you know, some of you thought, well, you know, I'm not meant to have a long-term relationship. I'm not meant to have a family, because maybe some of you, you know, have a lot of inner child work to do. You don't think you'll be good parents. Maybe some of you grew up in a household where you didn't have a good representation of what love and partnership should look like. And so some of you may be scared to get into long-term committed relationships with people because you grew up with parents who didn't show you what true love and affection are supposed to look like, right? And I do feel like that may be a more specific message for somebody, but I am hearing that, especially because the Two of Cups is very much so about relationships, finding connection with people. And this doesn't have to be romantic relationships. This can very well be a platonic relationship, and feeling like you're just really in sync with somebody. Like, you guys really vibe with each other, you pour into each other, and both of you are receiving as much as you're giving in these relationships, but just feeling very connected, very seen with another person. And for some of you, it may be romantic. For some of you, it may be that when you take these other options and you actually go after the things that you want, that you'll meet people in your life that are more in alignment with who you are now than the people of your past. So for instance, maybe some of you have friends from, college or from high school that don't believe in the same things you do. And not to say that that's bad. Let me use another example. Let's say that you have old friends that love to go out and party, and they like to drink, and they like to do drugs, and they like to, do this, that, whatever. And I'm not shaming them for that, but maybe it's not something you're interested anymore. Maybe you were once like all about the party scene, and now you're like, it's not really for me anymore. And you're wanting to bring people into you that, have that want to make like a different connection with you, not just like party friends, but people that have like deep, meaningful connections with you. People that are willing to like hang out and have a movie night on a Friday night and like not feel the need to go out and drink and do drugs and do whatever. Again, I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying I feel like that may be some of the issue. And so I do see that, by you actually working through some of your past trauma and like really healing your inner child, and being able to make being able to make decisions for yourself in the present day that like you truly want to make, that you're not allowing like your inner child to hold you back from, you will be able to like meet and connect with people that are on the same wavelength as you, people that understand and resonate with you, and again, give back to you as much as they receive from you. And I think that's really beautiful. And for those of you that this is meant to be romantic, I feel like this is going to be a very strong, like emotionally connected partnership and it may be something you've never had before. Maybe you haven't been very well emotionally connected to your past partners, but there's just going to be a very deep, like soul level connection with this person, or they will be like your best friend as well as your lover. And I think that that's really beautiful, but I do see a very deep, meaningful connection. With the 10 of Cups coming up, I had mentioned about children, because, the 10 of Cups really talks about this feeling of, it is a completion essentially, but this feeling of contentment, of being like, sorry, I totally like lost my train of thought there, but of being very like content and happy with where you are and where your life is. And this can talk about children and building like a family, and family related structures. But I also see this as, maybe you just, once you like make these connections with people, and you build these relationships with people, that it'll allow you to feel this sense of inner peace. It will make your inner child feel safe as well, because you have these people in your life that understand you and connect with you on a deep level that maybe you haven't had before. Maybe it's been a long time since you've had those connections because you've outgrown the people in your life currently. But with the 10 of Cups in particular, I always describe this as that feeling that you get when like everything feels peaceful and blissful, and just like I describe it to people as like this overwhelming feeling of love that I get when I'm just like hanging out with my husband and our animals, and like we're just all kind of like enjoying each other's company. Does that make sense? And so I think that definitely like that is what you'll be able to like gain from actually working on your issues and like moving past them, and like being able to see like a brighter tomorrow, being able to see that, even though obviously things are still going to trigger us throughout our lives from like what has previously happened, is being able to acknowledge those triggers and work through them as you progress through life, so that those things don't set you back emotionally like 10 years. You're able to kind of acknowledge them, let yourself be present with the feelings that you're feeling and the things that trigger you, and then move forward. So yeah, I think that that's really like the overall message, is that when you do this, you'll be able to really go after your passions, the things that inspire you. You won't have like fear and doubt holding you back anymore, and you'll be able to go after what you really want, and in turn you'll bring in like the relationships and the family structures that you're really wanting in your life, because you'll be able to attract those people, because you'll be on the same wavelength, on the same, you know, frequency as them, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead, pile number 1, and take a look at your oracle cards as well that we got for you today, for any additional information that Spirit has for us. So you got higher power, funny. And then you also got thinker. Okay, I think that this is like a reaffirmation here, especially with thinker, that you are somebody that does deeply think about your past, and you think about the things that have happened in your life, and you think about, I feel like you may over intellectualize your emotions sometimes, but you really do think about a lot. Like there's always a lot going on in your head. You could be an air sign, you could be somebody with like an air moon. As a Libra moon myself, I feel like my mind is constantly going 100 miles a minute, and I feel like that could easily be you as well too. And I think that this is coming out kind of as a reminder to not overthink the process when you're healing, not overthink your feelings. Really allow yourself to feel your feelings, okay? It's important for all of us to feel our feelings. It's great to be able to sit there and like think, okay, well, I'm having this emotional reaction probably due to this issue, but allow yourself to feel it. There's nothing wrong with feeling your emotions and then letting them pass. Because if we don't allow ourselves to feel the emotions, it's harder for them to pass. They, you know, what we resist persists. So just keep that in mind. With higher power coming up here, I feel like, you know, this is a message obviously for you from Spirit, but also like your higher self is coming through here and really trying to emphasize to you how important it is for you to heal and to get past these negative thought processes and like this trauma from your childhood. And again, like, I don't mean to sound insensitive when I say get past. I mean like to work through these problems, right? Because again, I don't think that we ever completely can disassociate from our trauma and from like issues in our past. All we can do is continue to try and work through them through our lives, and hope that our responses get less and less like emotionally fueled, if that makes sense. And so I think that that is kind of what your higher power is coming through saying, as well as like, just remember that you're always protected by Spirit. Spirit is coming through saying that they've got your back, that you're protected, that, you know, this healing process was like a divine part of your life. This is something that was supposed to happen for your soul to evolve and grow on this 3D plane of Earth. And so it's just really important that you do work on these things so that you can move forward and you don't have to continue to be stuck in these cycles, like these toxic cycles over and over and over again. So yeah, once you've healed, you'll be able to really, I feel like you'll really be able to trust yourself more, your intuition, and like your gut towards your passions. Because I feel like for a lot of you guys, you know, you're supposed to be doing the things that light you up, but you're scared to, because, you know, there's this voice in the back of your head telling you, well, you're not good enough for this, or you're not going to be able to accomplish that, or I don't even know why you dream that big, because it's ridiculous to think that you would ever accomplish those things, like really, really harsh, mean things. So like, give yourself some grace and understand that the things that you're drawn to, the things that you're passionate about, the things that light you up, like they do that for a reason, because they're a reminder from your soul of like, these are the things we wanted to experience, these are the things we want to go after. So like, let that drive you forward. Let your passions be the things that drive you. Because I feel like for those of you that picked this pile, your passions are super important for you. I mean, we got the freaking Page of Wands and the Two of Wands, and, you know, your decision should be based off of, you know, is this something that I really want to do? Am I passionate about this? Does it excite me? Does it light me up? Does it make me like happy and giddy and excited to think about? So yeah, I think that that's just kind of a reminder there. I feel like you guys are more intuitive than you give yourself credit for as well. Like, I feel like you guys are very well like tapped into this, and there's a part of you that already knows this, but you suppress that part a lot because you're afraid. And that's why we really need to work through a lot of this shit from our childhood so that we can, you know, stand up to fear and say, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's scary, but I still want to do it because it's important for me to do. Let's go ahead, you guys, and take a look at 2 more of your oracle cards here from the next deck, and then you have 2 more after this, and then we will be done with your reading today. So we have for you, full moon in Leo, don't let pride get in your way. And then we have South Node, don't let your past hold you back. I feel like this is just like really a reiteration of what we've gone over, but with the full moon in Leo coming out here, you know, I feel like this is a message that don't let your ego get in your way. Don't let, you know, this negative voice in the back of your head that is all about appearances and the way that like you will look to other people if you're a failure. If you're a failure, because I don't think anybody really fails. I think we just, you know, don't excel at everything we do as we're not supposed to in the first try, and then we learn and make adjustments accordingly for the next attempt. But anyway, I digress. I feel like this is a message saying, you know, don't let your ego get the better of you when you're going through your healing process. Don't let your logical mind take over too much. Again, that's why I think I said earlier too, like, don't allow yourself not to feel the feelings that you need to feel so you can work through things and move past the state that you're currently in. So like, really don't let your ego and your pride get in your way when it comes to your healing, because, you know, there's, and I think that this also touches on, like, you know, we all have dark aspects to us. We all have things about ourselves that we don't necessarily like and we kind of suppress and push down. But in order for you to really heal and really grow and really be able to move past this current cycle and point that you're in, it's really important for you to acknowledge those parts of yourself and to accept them and show them love and show them patience and kindness, just like you would anybody else. It's just gonna be, that's gonna be really important for you. So really let go of your pride, let go of, you know, your ego, and allow yourself to really heal. And I feel like that is also going to be helpful for you if you're able to block out like the negative things that come up from your ego, because then, you know, it's going to help you when you're making decisions that like you truly want to make for yourself. You're not going to allow that negativity to hold you back anymore. You're going to be able to like look at it and be like, you know what, I understand that you're trying to protect me, but I need to do this for myself. And you're just going to be able to like silence that voice, okay? With the South Node coming up, obviously don't let your past hold you back. I think that that's very clear with our Six of Cups here, you know. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to diminish the things that you've gone through in your life, but we can't continue to allow ourselves to be stuck in the past. We have to start working through those issues and moving forward. And I really think that this is coming through for you in large volumes, because we've talked about this already, but again, it's a re-emphasis from Spirit that it's really important for you to start working on these things so that you can move forward into the person you're supposed to be, right? Our South Node is all about our past life as well. It's about the skills that we come into and like the things that we come into this life with, that we learned in previous lifetimes. And so we want to continue to grow and evolve and learn in this lifetime and move toward whatever your north node is. So I would urge you to look up those placements as well. But don't allow, yourself to be stuck in your comfort zone, because our south node can very much be our comfort zone. The things that we already know we're good at, the things that we already know that we're capable of. And while that's great and dandy that you have those skills in your back pocket, we have to move toward our north node and the things that we're supposed to learn in this lifetime. Otherwise, we're going to come back again and do the same thing over again. So, yeah, I just think that that's why this is coming out, because it's really important for you to start working through your past and moving yourself more into where you want to be and into your future. So we have 2 last cards for you here, pile number 1. We have number 28, seeing both sides. Take a step back and try looking at this from a different perspective. Okay. And then we also have rediscover your zeal. Pay attention to the passion you are feeling for discovery, learning, exploration, spirituality, travel, your work, or your relationship. Passion and desire go together, especially as inspiration. Excuse me. So I think that this one's pretty self-explanatory here. I feel like by you, reconnecting with your inner child, doing the healing that you're needing to from your past, and really working on yourself, it's going to allow you to tap back into the things that you're really passionate about. I think for you guys, you are already very intuitive, but by you actually unlearning a lot of the negative things that have been placed on you, and like unbecoming all of the things that aren't really your true self, that you will then be more intuitive and be able to connect with what it is that what you're passionate about and what drives you and what excites you. Because it can be hard to hear that, especially if like it's a gut feeling for you when you're so unsure of, what you should be doing and how you should feel about things, because you've been conditioned to believe that you should be feeling however other people want you to feel, and that's just not the case. Okay, so really also I think that this is a call for you to obviously rediscover like the things that you're passionate about. Maybe there are things that you left in your childhood because they were too childish. Maybe as you grew up, so for instance, let's say that you went to college and you wanted to be an art major, but everybody told you can't be an art major, you're not going to make any money, that's a waste of a college degree, you need to be smart about what you're doing. And maybe you really love art, and maybe you've always really loved art since you were a kid. Get back into touch with that. Start drawing, start painting, start doing whatever it is that you do for your art, and start feeling like alive and connected again. Again, the things that we're passionate about, the things that light us up, the things that make us happy are the things we're supposed to be doing anyway. So get back into touch with that. And then with seeing both sides, I think that, this is coming out again, kind of like what I mentioned at the beginning with like you being able to separate yourself more from like your emotions, or even separating yourself from like the negative like voice inside of your head, and realizing that a lot of the shit that you say to yourself that is mean, it's not you, it's not your voice, it's not like your true authentic voice. It's something that you heard when you were a kid that stuck with you, and that, was programmed into your mind for you to think every single time that something happens. So like, for instance, I had mentioned to you guys at the beginning of this reading that my younger sisters have told me that, sometimes they feel like they're not smart enough to do something. And so, if something's not going well, or if they're struggling with like math homework, or, with writing a paper, or with reading some book with like a bunch of crazy old English words in it or whatever, they sit there and tell themselves, well, I'm not going to understand this because I'm stupid. And that's just not true. Like, you have to then sit there and say to yourself, okay, well, why do I feel that way? Who taught me that it was okay to say those things to myself? Or like, who taught me I should feel that way about myself? and you know, what can I do to like unlearn those things? What can I do? How can I like positively reaffirm myself and let myself know I'm not stupid and I am capable of doing the things that I want to do. But also, you know, really being able to see that there are always two sides to every story, right? And there's always more to the story than just like our version as well, right? So like, what I mean by that is this is going to be different for everybody, and I'm not trying to like interject myself into your healing journey. I just, again, want to give you an example. So you know, I used to have a lot of resentment towards my parents for the things that like were said to me that kind of stuck with me with like, you know, being like an early preteen teenager into adulthood. And now that I'm older, I can sit there and say, you know, it wasn't okay that they said certain things to me, like about my body or about, you know, whatever it was. But if they thought it was appropriate to say those things to me, what did people say to them? And like, who programmed them to think that way? Because we're all just like generational trauma, right? We're all literally just the negative thoughts of like probably 10 generations before us. And it's just like crazy when you sit there and you think about like the big picture. So I think that that may be also what Spirit's pointing to here. But, you know, just being able to step back and objectively look at things from two sides and know that there's always more to the story than just one perspective, right? And again, I'm not trying to diminish your trauma and the things that may have happened to you in your life, because I don't know all of the things that you may have gone through, but it is very important, I feel like, at least it has been for me when it's come to healing, to step back and say, okay, like it was really fucked up what they did to me, but like what happened to them to make them think that that was okay to say that to me or to act like that or whatever, you know? I don't know. I think it gives a little bit of humanity back for me. Instead of like just being angry, I'm able to sit there and be like, you know, if they thought that was acceptable to say to me and they're like much older than I am, they've been living with that like false truth for a really long time. And at least you have the perspective and the clarity to be able to be like, nope, I'm not going to accept that into you know, my subconscious mind or into my thought processes or into my beliefs. And, you know, if they think that way, that's their issue and they need to work through that, and that's not on me. So anyway, pile number one, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading at that. I don't want to like ramble on for too much longer, because I do understand that you have things that you need to do as well, and your time is precious. But anyway, I really hope that this message resonated for you guys this week. If it did, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up so it can reach more people. I do put out new pick a card readings once a week, so if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And again, thank you so much for spending this time with me, pile number one. I love you guys, and I wish you all the best on your healing journey. And I hope to see you guys in the videos to come and next week. All right. Thank you. Bye. Hi there, my pile number twos. As a reminder, if you picked this card with like this imagery, then this is your reading this week in regard to messages that you need to hear right now. I just want to go ahead and give a warning beforehand that my dog and my cat are in the room with me while I'm recording, so my apologies if there's noise in the background. I've mentioned this before, but my dog is a Frenchie, and so when he falls asleep, he snores rather loudly sometimes. And my cat, she's kind of a spaz, so she may, you know, decide to do something crazy in the background. I will do my best to speak directly into the microphone, so hopefully you only hear and pick up me, but I just wanted to preface that because things have gotten a little bit different again now that my husband is back in school full-time. Like I've mentioned before, he is a teacher, and so, you know, the days that I'm off sometimes during the week, he is not, and I don't have the heart to lock them out of the room. I mean, they like to be in our presence, so I don't know. I just think it's mean, but personally. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get into your reading. First, I want to read you the this card, and then we'll get into your tarot as well, okay? So we have for you, learn. The time is upon you to broaden your horizons, but it doesn't have to be in a traditional sense, for not all education takes place in a classroom, and not all learning is found within books. What speaks to your soul right here, right now, become hungry for it, chase after it. Immerse yourself in anything and everything there is to know about what the voice is telling you to learn. So I like that for you guys, pile number 2. I feel like that leaves things pretty open for you too right now, in terms of like, I just feel like this is spirit saying that you're kind of going through a contractive period, like a learning period, and we'll get into why your tarot kind of points to this as well. So the first card that drew my attention here was the Three of Swords. It always draws my attention first though, because of just how like painful the card comes across in this deck. I will say that I don't get the sense for a lot of you. For some of you, it could be the case that like this is heartbreak, and you know, maybe you ended a relationship, or a relationship ended not on good terms. There could have been like some betrayal going on in the relationship, different things like that. But truthfully, what I'm seeing here for you guys with the Three of Swords isn't necessarily related to that for the majority of you. For the majority of you, I'm seeing that you're somebody that is still really learning how much your thoughts affect your feelings and how much your feelings affect your thoughts, right? I think that you are someone that has a lot that you need to work through from a mental standpoint, because I think that you may be like very, very hard on yourself, very mean to yourself, very cruel to yourself, in the way that you speak to yourself. And I don't think that you're that way with other people by any means. I think that you have a hard time separating your thoughts from your feelings and vice versa, and you have a hard time getting yourself kind of out of like a negative train of thought when it does happen for you. I feel like you're somebody that kind of spirals when those things do occur for you. And so truthfully, what I'm seeing here is like you're continuing to break your own heart, because you are, you know, maybe for instance, let's say for like one day you're like really positive and excited about something, and then when you don't act on it, like right that moment when you're like in that positive mindset towards something, then all of the doubt and the fear and the negativity starts to creep in, where you tell yourself maybe you're not capable of doing the things that you need to get where you want with, you know, this thing you're trying to accomplish. So for instance, if like you were wanting to try to start your own business or something, and you get really excited about it one day, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna look into like registering my business as like an LLC. I'm going to start like advertising on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. And like you're really gung-ho and like super excited about it, and you're like, you know, I am gonna start this weekend, I'm gonna do it this weekend, I'm gonna set aside time, I just don't have time this week. That's fine, whatever. You sit on it, and you know, let's say there's like a day or two in between the time that this idea like really starts to arise for you and like you actually putting action into it. And in between that time, it's like you sit there and tell yourself, this is never gonna work out. I don't know why I'm even considering doing this. It's not going to work out for me. Nothing ever works out in my favor. I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not talented enough to do this. I'm not this, I'm not that, blah, 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 etc., etc. And again, I feel like you're the one that's been breaking your own heart, because you have this like illusion of yourself, of what you're capable of and who you are and who you're supposed to be. And there's really, like with judgment and the moon both coming up, I feel like there is a level of reckoning that you need to go through. You, with judgment, for instance, you know, it's looking at your entire being. It's looking at everything that you are, everything that you have the potential to become, your light and dark attributes, and really being able to I'm trying to think of the word, because it's like not necessarily that you're able to logically, you know, look at your issues from the past or look at like your past actions, but really being able to review them, I guess, without being able to like look at your past actions and view them without being like overly critical of yourself, if that makes sense. Like, I know this is the Judgment card, and it does ask us to look at our past actions, but this card can also ask us to give ourselves some grace as well, right? Because like in this card, for instance, she has this beautiful like light attribute to her that seems to be coming out. And that is the part of her that really wants to shine. So it's like that reckoning of, okay, let me deal with the things that I did in the past that I'm not super proud of. Let me come to terms with why I did those things, or like why that may have happened within me. And then, you know, we still have to accept that that is something we did, and that is a past version of ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like we have to continue to be that person or continue to do those same things, but it's more like we do have to acknowledge that those things happened. We can't ignore the things that we did in our past, right? People that really like make the most growth in their life and that I feel like come out as different people and really allow change to take hold of them are the people that understand that before we can become who we really want to, we have to reckon with who we were before, right? We have to sit there and say to ourselves, you know, this is who I once was. So for instance, like, let's say you were somebody that was an alcoholic, and you can't ever forget that piece of you. You can't forget about the fact that you were once an alcoholic. You can work through your alcoholism tendencies, and you can work toward, you know, sobriety, and you can work toward changing your life and not having your life be dependent on a substance for you to function and be able to survive. So like coming up with new coping mechanisms so you can become the individual that you want to become, and alcohol wouldn't limit you and hold you back. Does that make sense? I feel like that is essentially what I'm getting here with Judgment, is that a lot of you are wanting to push aside these parts of yourself that are like dark, or that maybe you haven't reckoned with, or maybe like you don't want to claim those parts because you don't like them about yourself, but they are still inherently parts of you, and there's nothing wrong with those parts of you. We just can't allow ourselves to succumb to the darkness, to succumb to those negative attributes of ourselves, especially if like we're wanting to become a completely different person and we're wanting to work on becoming a completely different person. We have to let ourselves come face to face with that darkness. We just can't let it succumb us. So the same thing here, like in the moon, where it shows her essentially kind of falling and floating into the water. Allow yourself to be in the water and be still, and to acknowledge your past and acknowledge your emotions that you may have about your past and the things that have occurred, but don't let it overcome you. Don't allow yourself to get stuck in this darkness, this illusion of what you believe you're capable of and who you believe you are because of shit that happened in your past. You know, it's in the past, and you do have the ability to look at it and learn from it and grow from it, and not allow it to hold you back and continue to think that you're like this terrible fucking person because maybe you did some terrible things in your past. Or maybe, you know, you were a very different person in your 20s than you are now in your 30s and 40s. I think of this reading as almost being somebody that had like bigoted or racist tendencies, and this could not be you at all. Like, I'm not pointing fingers and saying that that is who and what you were, but what the point I'm getting at is like somebody that maybe grew up in like a very racist town, or grew up in a very racist setting where you were kind of only around people that looked like you, thought like you, and you only saw those opinions, and then when you left and you like actually experienced the outside world, and maybe you did some traveling and you went to college and you took courses that challenged your beliefs and, you know, made you think about things in a different perspective, and you completely changed your mind about the things that you used to believe and the things that you used to agree with because you saw a different perspective and it resonated with you more deeply than the things that you were taught and the things that you repeated from growing up. Does that make sense? That's essentially like what I'm getting with from this reading, especially with like the Six of Swords coming out here as well. And to me, you know, this is about you kind of moving away from the past, moving away from things that no longer serve you, and moving away from this mentality where you allow yourself to spiral into negative thoughts and negative ideas about yourself and what you're capable of. With the King of Swords coming out, I feel like this is what you're supposed to be evolving to, as well as the Nine of Cups. You are holding yourself back. You are like being your own detriment to the point where you can't bring the things that you want in your life because you haven't dealt with your past, you haven't dealt with your trauma, you haven't dealt with those issues, and so you haven't made room for good things to come into your life, the things that you're wanting to bring into your life, the gold, the treasure, the beauty, whether it be like the people, the things, you know, whatever it is, because this card is about like bringing in like our manifestations in a way, and just being like very generous, being able to give back to other people with what we have, what we know, what we've learned. And I think that that may be part of like your path here, at least right now, is for you to overcome this mental anguish that I'm feeling, this issue that you have with reckoning with your past and reckoning with the dark attributes of yourself and not allowing yourself to essentially move past it. It's like you, again, you may have done some really shitty things in your past. That doesn't make you a shitty person now. It would only make you a shitty person if you continued to do those things and you didn't learn from them. Like, that is essentially what Spirit is saying here. And again, like, this goes back to learn. So like, learn from the issues that you've had in your past, learn from who you previously are that you cringe to think about, because I do get that sense with a lot of you that like your past makes you cringe. The person that you once were and the things that you once thought and the things that you once did make you cringe. And like, again, I feel like this goes back to the Three of Swords with you breaking your own heart, because over and over again, you're thinking about all this shit that happened in the past, all the stuff that you did in the past. And while it's great that you recognize that you could have handled things differently or that you weren't your best version of yourself back then, it's okay to accept it and move on and say, you know what? That was a learning experience for me. I did learn something from that. I don't want to be that person anymore. And I'll do what I can moving forward to not fall back into those old patterns, those old thought processes, those old beliefs. Because ultimately you're holding yourself back when really you need to be moving on to better, brighter, clearer water and clear days, right? You need to be moving away from like your turbulent past and the issues that you dealt with then. So it really is going to be important for you to start healing and start working through those things. And if you're not somebody that is capable of doing that yourself, then I would really, really, really recommend that you seek out therapy. You seek out a therapist that can help you work through the traumas and the issues that you've had in your past and the things that you did. Sometimes we need to talk things out. Some people are journalers. Maybe you'll really benefit from writing shit down, but sometimes we need to talk things out with somebody else for us to like get it off our chest and get it out of our mind. And that's why it can be so valuable to write things down as well. So I am hearing for some of you that it may be beneficial for you to write and journal these things out to get them off of your mind. And if you need to burn like whatever you write, maybe that'll help you release as well. But sometimes we need to talk things out. We need to write things down. We need to actually get it out of our mind and like into the world. And get it off our chest. Then we can sit there and say, you know what, this is what I did in my past. I'm not proud of it, but I have to accept it and move on and like deal with like me not being the most comfortable with that past version of myself, but knowing that I'm not going to redo the same things and have the same things happen. I'm going to stop harping on that point because I feel like I just keep on kind of explaining it, but I'm just really hoping that you understand what I mean here. With the King of Swords coming up, I do feel like you are supposed to move into this King of Swords energy where, you know, he in this card has such a high vantage point. It looks like he's on top of a mountain. There's an owl here to kind of signify his wisdom. But the King of Swords really does have such a high vantage point because he's really worked through the trouble that his mind has given him, in terms of him being like, my mind is not going to hold me back. I'm going to use my mind to my own power and allow it to work for me, allow it to bring in the things that I want so that I can manifest the things that I want into my life and bring those things toward me. I'm not going to let my thoughts hold me back. It's like he has the ultimate control over his mind, the thoughts that come up, his subconscious thought patterns, him being able to stop these negative thoughts from coming in and spiraling out of control. And I feel like that is energy that you guys are needing to tap into more, because there's nothing wrong with feelings coming in and affecting like our thought patterns and vice versa. But how long are you going to allow that to happen for? Are you going to allow it to have you spiral out of control for an hour, a week, a year, 2 years, 5? Like, what are you going to do? And what are you going to be able to do to stop it when it does come in? And how can you better acknowledge those thoughts and let them be there and then let them dissipate? And know that your thoughts are not you. Like, you are not your thoughts. You are your own separate entity and being. And actually, like, our feelings are a lot of the time more indicative of who we actually are, because our thoughts can be heavily influenced by society, by people we've grown up around, by our conditioning as we've been brought up. So you are not always your thoughts. Just keep that in mind, okay? Let's go ahead and move on to your Oracle cards pile number 2 and see what other additional information Spirit has for you. So you got chaos and conflict, and you got go the distance. So I think that what Spirit is saying here for you guys is that you do have a lot of like inner chaos and conflict going on. And I mean, like I said, I feel like that was indicative with our 3 of Swords, with the moon here, with Judgment. You just have a lot that you're needing to kind of consolidate and reckon with. And with the go the distance here, I feel like Spirit is acknowledging that, you know, this is not going to be an easy journey. It's not easy to overcome years and years and years of conditioning and thought patterns and, you know, what we believe about ourselves. It takes a lot of work, but you have the capability to do this work. And it's really important for you to do this work, for you to continue to grow and become the individual that you want to. Otherwise, you're going to remain stuck. You're going to remain in these 3 cards, in Judgment, the Moon, and the 3 of Swords, when really you need to be heading towards the 6 of Swords, the 9 of Cups, and the King of Swords. And you'll only be able to, you're the only person that can get you out of that energy. You're the only person that has the ability to change your life and change the way that you think about things. So it's really important that you believe in yourself and you believe that you're capable of doing that. And I believe you are, and Spirit believes you are. And I think that's why Go the Distance came out, because they know it's going to be hard. They know it's going to be a lot of work, and chaos and conflict comes before we get clarity, right? So you will be able to see more clearly and see from a higher vantage point once you start to do the work, and once you start to see, you know, okay, maybe my thoughts weren't my own. Maybe I did have a lot of programming from childhood. Why does this thought keep coming up? Why do I keep thinking this about myself? Why do I say this about myself? It's so mean, it's so hurtful. And we hurt ourselves literally more than anybody else could hurt us. I truly, truly, truly believe that. I believe that you have the ability to love yourself or to hurt yourself, and you have to choose to love yourself. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of your other oracle cards here. So we also got for you Work Through Your Fears, New Moon in Scorpio. And then we got Surrender to the Divine, Full Moon. Okay, I think that we really already kind of touched on these things too, but let's get into it. With Work Through Your Fears, again, it's scary to go against the voice in your head. It's scary to stand up to it and say, I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm going to do what satisfies me and makes me happy, because we can't allow this like 8-year-old version of ourselves to control us for the rest of our lives, right? And what benefited you in childhood, what protected you in childhood, is hindering you now in adulthood. So it's really important that you work past your fears and you don't allow them to hold you back, because that is essentially allowing, a child to hold you back because they're fearful and they're trying to protect you. And while that's great, those things exist within us for a reason, for us to accomplish our dreams, for us to go after the things that we want to, for us to fulfill our purpose, and for us to feel like we're doing something meaningful, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to move past that. And Spirit's saying that you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to transform yourself into what you're wanting to become and transform your life, but you have to work through your fears first. Transformation comes on the other side of fear. And then Surrender to the Divine, again, I was talking about earlier with the Moon card. We have somebody here that's in the water and is just kind of like floating into the water. And I think that some of you need to surrender more clearly to the divine and really, allow yourself to connect more with Spirit, Source, God, whatever it is you believe in, but also surrender to the healing process. Surrender to your fears, not surrender to your fears, but surrender to these illusions that you have about yourself, and really come face to face with them, meet them head on, and figure out why they're there so that they can go away, that you can dissipate them, that they can then come up maybe every once in a while, but you're able to be like, nope, there's really not any space for you here right now. But yeah, also understand that this is, I feel like, really a part of your path here. This is a part of what you're supposed to be doing, and Spirit has your back. Spirit is here for you. They know that this is difficult. They know this is hard. And so if you've been wanting to connect to your spirit guides, connect to the universe, connect to Source, connect to nature, whatever it is for you, know that this is a good time to do that. And this may be something that's very supportive of you in your healing journey. And then I have 2 more cards for you today, guys. So we have Gentle Moderation for you. Take your time. Pressure from others or yourself can be released by renegotiating what you're trying to accomplish. And then we have Convey Your Meaning. Reflect on the way you communicate, Reflect on the way you communicate with others and with yourself. Be sure to express your thoughts and feelings from your heart and with respect and sincerity. So I think with the Gentle Moderation here, you guys, this is coming out as a reminder that it's okay to go slow. You will get there eventually. It's literally I'm getting tortoise in the hare vibes here, where it's slow and steady does win the race. You will still get to the finish line, and you will still be able to, although I never think that we're totally finished with our healing and with shadow work and all that stuff. But what I mean is you're going to see progress. You're going to get to this point where you are no longer being controlled by your thoughts and feelings. And you're going to get to this point where you feel more comfortable in who you are. You've accepted yourself, all your demons, all of your darkness, all of your light, and you're able to transmute all of that into this individual you want to become, right? And so I feel like that is why, Gentle Moderation is coming up here, because we do have to be gentle on ourselves in the healing process. It takes time. It's hard work. It's very can be very defeating at times, and you may feel there may be times where you feel like you're not making progress, but I guarantee you that if you're working on it and you're actually putting in the time and effort, you are making progress, and you will see it eventually. But be gentle on yourself. Take things slow if you need to. You don't have to like rush to the finish line, or like try to rush to the finish line of healing, because again, I think we are continuously like healing throughout our lifetime. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that like your work is being seen, the things that you do will be seen, and you will be able to get yourself into a better state of mind, okay? With convey your meaning here, I feel like this is really in regard to you and how you communicate with yourself. I don't think that you're necessarily a poor communicator with other people. You could be. Some of you may need to work on your communication with other people, especially if you have if you grew up with emotionally immature parents, for instance, and you may have some emotionally immature tendencies. Maybe you need to work on your communication with a partner or with friends or with whoever, and you can't again rely on your defense mechanisms that you had as a child. You need to really start to like talk and communicate and work through your shit. And I feel like that may be the problem in general for a lot of you, is that you don't like to talk about your problems, and it's important for us to talk about our problems. That's why therapy is important. That's why us journaling is important, because we need to get that shit out of our head and into the world, right? Into safe spaces and, you know, safe journals or whatever that we have. And there are even journals out there now that have been marketed like on TikTok where you can, it's like very deep personal shit that you can fill out, and then you can burn it when you're done, so then no one will ever see it or find it. But it allows you that like sense of being able to really open up, because you aren't worried that somebody's going to find it and read it and judge you. And really it allows you to have more of like a judgment-free zone when you're journaling, when you're getting your shit out onto paper. So maybe look into that for some of you guys, but you can also literally write a journal entry or write on a page and burn it after you're done, or rip it up, cut it up, like whatever you want to do, whatever it is that makes you feel more comfortable about like being authentic and really releasing your thoughts onto paper. So anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and leave your reading here. I hope that this was insightful for you, that it resonated for you, and it gave you a sense of clarity and understanding. I hope that you do feel seen and heard by this message. And if you do, please leave me a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do put out new pick a card readings once a week. I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm wishing you all the best on your journey. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. As a reminder, if you picked this card with this illustration of the lion on it, then this is your reading this week in regard to messages that Spirit needs you to hear right now. We'll go ahead and get into your tarot cards here momentarily, but first I did want to read you the message on the back of this card. So you got adventure. You can feel it, can't you? A soft tug here, a soft push there. Excuse me, a gentle tug here, a soft push there. The steady whisper of adventure humming deep within your belly, begging you to come and dance with it. So what are you waiting for? Make the change, take the risk, embark on the journey. You were never meant to thrive within anything else but that which makes your soul come alive. Okay, so actually I feel like this really ties in well to your tarot cards here, and we'll get into it here in a moment. But we got for you today the Devil, the Eight of Wands, the High Priestess, the Eight of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, and the Magician. So starting off here with the Devil, starting off strong here with the Devil, I feel like this card is coming out for you guys because for a lot of you, I'm getting this feeling that there's an individual in your life who has been controlling you for a really long time, whether this be like a partner, whether it be a friend, whether it be a family member. There's somebody that has, it always seems like they've had their boot on your neck, if that makes sense. Like they're very controlling, very manipulative, very much so like want everybody around them to see the world from their point of view. And I get the feeling that this person is very stubborn and unwavering and doesn't accept opinions outside of their own, doesn't accept that other people may have different experiences or different feelings towards different subjects than they do. And I do feel like this is somebody that's been in your life for quite a while. So again, this could be like a long-term partnership that you've been in. This could be a parent. This could be a grandparent. This could be somebody that has had their clutches, their influence in you for a while. I feel like for a lot of you, you started to wake up here with the High Priestess to their bullshit. I feel like you, maybe as a child, or maybe like if this is a parent, maybe as a child, you know, you didn't let it bother you as much. You didn't pay much attention to just how controlling and manipulative this individual was. And maybe if, you know, this is a relationship, maybe they acted completely different when you were in like the early dating stages, and then they revealed to you who they truly were. That's very typical with like narcissists. They'll shower you with like love and affection at first, and then they belittle you and make you feel bad about having feelings, or they gaslight you, or sorry about shaking you guys there. Let's make sure we're still okay with our camera angle. Yeah, okay. But I do feel like this is somebody that for a while, if it's not a parent, that masked who they were to you, like who they really were. And you kind of let it slide because you're like, well, this is how they weren't like this in the beginning. This is probably just a phase. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe something, you know, else is going on in their life. Maybe work is really stressful. Maybe whatever, you know, you made up excuses for them a lot. And I feel like for the majority of you, you're starting to wake up to who this person really is and like the grip that they really have on you. And I would just say to you that your intuition is not wrong here, okay? Really, you need to not be afraid to listen to your intuition when it comes to other people and their intentions and the way that you feel around them. I think that that is a big indicator of a relationship, is how do you feel around that person? How does that person make you feel? Does that person belittle you and belittle your feelings, your emotions, your point of view, your opinions? Does that person not listen to you when you ask them to do something? Do you constantly have to fight for like your boundaries and for like the things that you want to be heard? If so, then this is clearly not a relationship you're meant to be in. This is not, whether it's platonic, whether it's a parent-child relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship. I feel like you have outgrown this person and it's time to move on from this situation, especially with the 8 of Cups coming up here. You know, I feel like you dealt with a lot of the emotional abuse and trauma for a really long time and you're done. I think that there may have been a point for you where you just kind of snapped and you were like, nope, I'm finished. This was the final straw for me, kind of thing. And if you're not quite there yet, I really do see that you're going to be getting there, that you're not going to be staying with this person, or at least you shouldn't. You should move away from this person and the grip, the control that they have over you. I really do feel like for the vast majority of you, this has to do with a person and not necessarily a substance. For some of you, it could be related to a substance that's kind of been controlling you for a while in terms of drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be. And maybe you had this aha moment where you were like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is not who or where I want to be. And sometimes it takes like seeing somebody else that we knew and cared about be affected by those things. Or for instance, if you were somebody that abused really hard drugs and a friend of yours overdosed and kills themselves, and maybe that'll be like your wake-up call that you don't want to end up like that. Whatever it may be. But I do feel like for the vast majority of you, this has to do with a person in a relationship and not necessarily a substance. But either way, like, you've spent your time being emotional about it or trying to, like, especially with the water here. I mean, the card depicts somebody walking away from the water, and you just you're done. You're ready to move on. You're ready to put this into your past. And I think that you definitely need to. And, you know, with the adventure card here saying that it's time for you to make the change and take the risk and embark on a new journey, that this is what you're being called to do at this time. Take the risk, you know, leave your comfort zone, which this person may be, especially if they're a parent or somebody that's been in your life for a really long time. It can be hard to leave people like that in the past that we've built a life around and with, and that we've spent all this time with, but it's very important for you to do that, for you to be able to move into the next phase for you, which, you know, is where I believe we are with the Six of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Eight of Wands. You know, the Eight of Wands could signify actual travel for some of you. Some of you could be like traveling, and really trying to like find yourself like very love, eat, pray, or eat, love, pray, or whatever that is, whatever that movie's called with Julia Roberts in it. It's like you're gonna be able to find yourself by leaving and by exploring and, you know, embarking on the adventure that is traveling, maybe by yourself for the first time. Maybe you'll go on a solo trip and it'll really change your life because you won't have anybody to be dependent on but yourself in that situation. So if that's something you're being called to do, I would definitely say go for it. For a lot of you though, it's going to be you breaking off this relationship, this toxic hold that this person has had over you, and then realizing that the dreams that you may have had weren't your own. Maybe they were theirs. The thoughts that you have about yourself aren't your own. They were their thoughts about you. And realizing that this person, you know, has a lot of shit they have to work on themselves, and their problems aren't your problems, right? But I do see, especially with like the Eight of Wands and the Magician here, the Eight of Wands can also signify kind of like all of the different things that we're trying to manifest or bring into our lives, like the good. And it's like, you know, we light the wand, we light the torch, and we kind of just let them like go. We pull back the arrow, we see where they landed. And, you know, this can to me signify that you have a lot of things that you're really wanting to accomplish, a lot of things that you're really wanting to go after. And by you breaking the chain and being free of this individual, I feel like you'll finally have like the self-confidence and the self-worth and like the desire to go after these things, because I feel like this person purposefully held you back for a really long time. And maybe they put their own insecurities and projected their own issues onto you and made you feel like you weren't capable of accomplishing these things that you had wanted to do. And so I think that by you ending this relationship, it's going to be a reminder for you of how powerful you are. With the Magician coming out here, I mean, you're a powerful, powerful manifester. You can create anything that you want out of your life. And with the Six of Pentacles coming up, I feel like this is confirmation from the universe that whatever it is that you put your time and effort and passion and drive into, that's what, you know, you're going to be reciprocated for, like that energy, if that makes sense. And, you know, we even got that here in the adventure card where we talk about that you were never meant to thrive within anything else but that which makes your soul come alive. So what are you passionate about, pile number 3? What's something that really lights you up and excites you and makes you want to work on it every day or do it every day? Maybe you really want to learn how to play guitar. Maybe you really want to take some acting classes. Maybe you really want to go back to school and become like a teacher or a nurse or a social worker or whatever. Like, whatever it is you want to do, now is your time to go after it, especially after getting out of this situation. Now is your time to literally go toward the sun, to go toward your opportunities, and like the future is bright for you. You have so many possibilities, essentially, is what I'm seeing here. In the Eight of Wands, there's so many different things that you can do, but it's best that you do the things that light your soul on fire, that make you excited. And I feel like that is why it's the Eight of Wands essentially that came up, because that's all about passion and drive and desire. So what do you desire? What are you passionate about? What do you want to bring into your reality? And know that the universe has your back. Know that whatever you put in toward the universe, whether it be money, whether it be time, effort, energy, whatever you put out there and you put your energy toward, you will receive that blessing. You will be like, sorry, I'm like trying to think of the way to phrase it. I was going to say you will be reciprocity, but that's not what I mean. It's more so that you will receive that reciprocity from the universe, and really like where, you know, our attention goes, like where energy flows, like and attention goes, that's where we really do see that being returned to us. So even with money, you know, for instance, when we spend money on something, whether it be an education or whether it be, you know, that we spend money even on like groceries, if we're grateful for the fact that we have the money to spend, and we truly know like within us, and we have no doubt that the universe will bring that money back to us tenfold, it will. But we have to have that belief. We have to know that we're powerful and that we can create whatever it is that we want in this reality, and that ultimately the universe has our back as long as we're doing something that we're truly passionate about and we truly enjoy. So this is a really exciting time for you guys, pile number 3. This is really your opportunity to leave the past in the past, leave people that don't serve you anymore behind, and to move on with your life and to really embark on like a new chapter, a new adventure. That's ultimately what I'm seeing for you here in your tarot, and with this, you know, what is this even called? It's like technically an affirmation card, I think. But yeah, this is really your time to embark on a new adventure, and it can be really scary. I'm not going to say that change isn't a scary thing. It can be scary, especially if you've been used to certain people and certain things in your life for so long, but it's just really important that you remember that, you know, sometimes people are only meant to be in our lives for a season, whether that be an actual relative or that be, you know, a significant other or friend. Sometimes we don't get to take everybody with us on every stop of our journey, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that, and like for most of you, I really do think that this is somebody that you should never have back in your life again. But if they were to actually work on themselves and change and be different, and you guys met, you know, down the line again, and they're somebody that you bring back into your life, so be it. But right now, they're not somebody that's supposed to be in your life for a reason. It's time to walk away from that situation. Let's go ahead and take a look at your oracle cards here, pile number 3. Let me take a drink here real quick. Okay. Let's take a look at your oracle cards here. So you got the Fates and you got Blessed. Okay. I think that the Fates are coming up for you because this is a reminder that, again, just kind of like with what I said, sometimes people only come into our lives for a brief period of time, and that's what they're meant to do for us. They're meant to show us certain things, teach us certain things about ourselves. I can't remember if I was listening to a podcast or if I read this from a book recently, but I, regardless, remember hearing this from somebody else, that everything that comes up in our lives, other people that like come up and present like an adversary to us, they're meant to teach us things about ourselves. And for instance, you know, if you meet somebody like this individual who doesn't respect you, doesn't respect your boundaries, makes you feel like your emotions don't matter, it's really all there purposefully for you to be reminded of your worth, reminded of who you are, reminded of the capabilities that you have and the things that you can actually create, and that you should never limit yourself to your own mind and your own thoughts, let alone other people's, because you're here to live your life for you, not for anybody else. And there are going to be people that don't like you and don't like the way you live your life and don't like what you're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I feel like when those things exist, it means that you're doing something right, because it's like there's always got to be balance in the world some way, right? And so if you're out here thriving, living your best life, doing your thing, there's always going to be somebody that's hateful and that tries to tear you down. But again, it's really, I feel like, more of a confirmation and a reminder that you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing anyway. And, you know, other people can only meet us to the level that they've healed at, and they will project their shit onto us even when we're thriving and happy. And that's typically when they do it the most, is when we're happy and we're thriving and we're living our best life, because there's a level of jealousy there. So don't let other people's opinions get to you so much. Don't let other people tear you down, and know that when these issues do come up in your life, that they're meant to teach you something about you and your resiliency and like who you're really supposed to be, okay? So don't give in. And I think it's great that I really do see that you haven't, that you have gotten into this relationship, you've grown up, and you've realized this is not what I want. And it's just really important that you never limit yourself and never think that you can't do better, you can't receive better, that you don't deserve better, because you always do. If there's someone in your life that doesn't support you and doesn't show you the love that you need, and doesn't care for you the way that you care for them. But yeah, I feel like this is coming up as kind of a reminder of that, and that I do feel like in some ways, you know, it is a reminder too that you are fated at this point in time to embark on something new and go about a new adventure with yourself, and really get back into touch with who you are and what you need from other people in relationships, and, you know, even from yourself, because it's really important that we don't always seek external validation, that we don't always seek external validation, and that we also don't seek other people to fill our voids and our holes that we have. We're supposed to be able to do those things for ourselves too. It's great if somebody can help with that. It's great if somebody else can, like, you know, give you something that you're needing, but you have to be able to provide that for yourself as well. With blessed coming up, I feel like, you know, this is just a reminder that you have so much more ahead of you, and you have so much potential, and you're really capable of doing so much. Again, like, you guys are super freaking powerful. You got the Magician to come out here, and just to keep in mind, kind of with what I was talking about with the Fates card, that everything is happening for a reason for you. Your guides, the universe, source, God, whatever you believe in, is protecting you and loves you and sees you. And it's really important too that while you're on this journey, because, you know, it can be difficult for us to get out of a relationship with somebody that was so controlling and manipulative with us, and for us not to have some psychological repercussions with that. So I think this is also coming out as a reminder to be gentle with yourself, show yourself love and compassion, and know that ultimately, like, you are very blessed in your life. And it was even a blessing for, you know, you to start to see that this person isn't somebody that you want in your life. And again, like, even though I'm not trying to say that negative people in your life are a blessing, but I am trying to say that sometimes these people are here to teach us things and to remind us of who we really are, and for us not to fall into the trap of their negativity, if that makes sense. So you are blessed, you are being divinely guided, and know that you are very loved by your spiritual team, and they love you, they see you, they acknowledge you, and you're only going to continue to feel blessed and grateful for your life as you work through these problems, and you get rid of these negative, toxic people in your life, and you really step back into your own power and see who you really are and what you're capable of. Let's take a look at some more of your oracle cards here, guys. So we also got for you a time for healing, balsamic moon, and we got a new romantic cycle begins. Okay, new moon in Libra. All right, cool. So obviously, I think this one's kind of self-explanatory. We were literally just talking about that, about how, you know, you're not going to be able to go from being controlled and manipulated by somebody to, like, being perfectly healed the next minute, and that there will probably be a level of psychological trauma there for you, and you're going to need to work through that. You're going to need to take time to rebuild your self-worth and your self-confidence, and there's nothing wrong with seeking professional help to do that if you're somebody that needs like accountability and needs a professional guide. You need a psychologist there, somebody that can be a therapist for you and help you through that. There's nothing wrong with that. But this will be a great time of healing for you as you embark on this new adventure, this new chapter in your life. And then with a new romantic cycle begins, I actually feel like this has more to do with like you feeling blessed and like romanticizing your life again. I feel like because you've been so controlled and manipulated by someone for so long, and you've allowed yourself to stay in this situation, that it's almost like you really started to lose like interest in your life, interest in the day-to-day. You lost sight of all of the blessings that you do have and all of the magic and beauty that there is in the world, right? And I think that by you moving away from this person and this negative entity, that you will be able to tap into like this newfound passion and love and excitement for life. Again, like going back to the 8 of Wands here that came up, it's like, what are you passionate about? What lights you up? What actually like inspires you and makes you happy? Because you don't have to worry about someone else's opinion anymore and what they think you should be lit up by. So what truly lights you up and excites you? And I feel like that is like your new romantic cycle. It's like you falling in love with yourself again and falling in love with your life again, because you don't have somebody telling you that you shouldn't love yourself and that you shouldn't love your life. So yeah, I think that that's what that's pointing to for you guys. I have 2 final cards for you here, pile number 3, so we'll look at those here quickly. So we have number 19, polite declaration. You can move into whatever direction you need to accomplish your goals. It is time for you to get out there, claim what is yours, and stay in your power. I think that this is like really, really self-explanatory, but I love that for you guys. You know, again, we have to move away from the old, move toward the new direction, the beautiful, you know, where the beautiful sun is shining and we have hope and joy again in life, and we're able to romanticize our lives again and feel blessed and peaceful. And we need to move into that and claim, you know, that as ours, claim what we're wanting out of our life so we can accomplish the goals that we want to, and to really step back into your power. So I really think that this is just reaffirming what we've already talked about. And then also finally for you guys, I have number 38, shedding the old. Surprise, surprise. There's a change coming your way. Cultivate a sense of adventure so you will be able to see these new prospects. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, pile number 3. You know, again, you have to look at this new chapter of your life as an adventure. You have to understand that, you know, and I feel like for a lot of you, you feel that way anyway, especially those of you that are like wanting to go out and travel and explore, but like you're really getting the chance to learn more about yourself and know you on a deep personal level, where somebody else isn't like telling you how you should act and feel and think, and you're able to just be yourself. And I think that it's so important that you are moving away from this person and, you know, this negative energy and this grip that they have over you. And again, you're shedding the old, and you're going to be able to come into this change and this adventure beautifully. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave your reading here, pile number 3. I really hope that this reading resonated for you and that you feel seen and heard and understood. I hope that you feel like you're getting some level of confirmation from this message. And if you did, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up so it can reach more people. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos, new pick a card readings once a week, and I love you guys so much. I really loved this message as well. So wishing you all the best on your new endeavors, your new adventure, your new life chapter, and I hope to see you guys back here next week for the next pick a card reading. Thanks for joining me. Bye.